let's get into this. I'm going to start with the pros, and then we'll get into the cons. The pros are the cinematography is fantastic. I love the silhouette style of this whole movie. The characters are in silhouette a lot of the time. They don't. I mean, there's a scene when when Adam Sandler's character, and his character name is Barry Egan. He is in he's at a table in Hawaii with Emily Watson, whose character's name is Lena. And it's very dark. It's like dusk. It's like sunset has passed, and it's dark, and they're talking, and then they get up and walk away. And this movie has a lot of moments where the lighting is not perfect. It's off just a little bit to give it that realism, and I think that's what really makes this movie pretty good. It has a weird balance of being kind of goofy, ultra dramatic, and a little bit dreamy. It is a love story, so it's a very different kind of love story, but there's a lot of weird moments. It almost felt like a Danny Elfman / Tim Burton collaboration. The music is all over the place. The music is very experimental, and I really appreciated that. I think it's definitely one of the best parts about it is the music. This is a grown-ups kind of adult film. It's not the traditional love story that you would think of. It's very much. It's very strange. It's very quirky, very odd. Adam Sandler plays a very strange character who has anger problems, but he tries to hide it, and it just comes off as really hilarious. The story is kind of exaggerated when it comes to the phone call situation and the mob and whoever Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is, which is, it's interesting. There's a point where Adam Sandler's character meets Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, and it looks like it's going to be a really big confrontation, a really big fight scene. But it doesn't turn into a big fight scene. They just stare each other down, and then I think it scares Phil Hoffman's character, and I think at that moment it was kind of grounded in reality, as if this really did happen, what would happen, and they kind of don't go crazy. So this movie has a weird blend of things that probably would have happened in real life and then are probably exaggerated for the film. The beginning of the film is very odd. It's almost like an art film or a student film. Barry, who is Adam Sandler's character, he is working in this warehouse. I'm not sure what he does. It's unclear what his job is. He walks out. There's a car wreck. Somebody drops off this piano. It's not really a piano. It's called something else. But Emily Watson's character, Lena, knows what it's called. She has a British accent. There's a lot of pieces going on. The feeling of this movie, I would think, is edited, and the production is, the art direction's put in a certain way where you really get inside Barry Egan's mind of how he's experiencing the world. His family, he has a lot of sisters. They drive him crazy. It's you can kind of understand why. It's all played out in a way that you can understand why Barry Egan's kind of going crazy. So it's a very weird film for Paul Thomas Anderson. I think it's his only comedy / love movie he's ever done. The title itself is strange, Punch Drunk Love. And there's just like these weird transitions that happen, not often, but there's like these colors that come in and out. It's an odd movie. It's a very strange movie. It stands alone. It's not like anything else, but it also is very similar to a lot of things. It reminded me of some old Turner Classic Movies, some of those love stories, except, this Adam Sandler's character always wears a suit. It just reminded me of like an old, 1940s kind of romantic film. But it's also modern too. And there's a lot of things in the background that don't really mean anything. It's basically all the story is the characters on screen. It's a weird movie. I don't know if I really like it or not. Some of the things I don't like about it were the lens flares. I think the anamorphic lensing is nice at times, but I think the lens flares are just strange. But maybe it adds to the just imagination that Adam Sandler's character has, where things are just slightly unreal. I'm not sure. There's a lot of good camera work though. A lot of dolly ins, push ins, things like that. The phone call stuff I thought was a little forced, a little exaggerated, but maybe they needed that to have the comedy, to have like the just the craziness of the story, possibly. Hold on. I thought I heard something. It's just my chair breaking. It's a strange movie. It's weird. It reminds me of the time, though. It reminds me of, this movie came out in 2002. It reminds me of that time when I was growing up. I think I was in high school at that point, and I didn't have a girlfriend, but this movie just feels like it captures, that time period in a weird way. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I'm going to give this a solid 7 out of 10. It was entertaining. It was fun to watch. There's things about it I don't like. I think the dialogue is kind of weak. I think the story elements are slapped together in a way that seems kind of non-fictional-ish. I'm not sure. The editing process was very interesting for this film, probably. Adam Sandler was a good choice as an actor. He played this part different than how he usually is, which made it much better. It's kind of it's almost like a fantasy film. It definitely feels like a Tim Burton film for some reason. I think it's just because it's a love story, there's just a lot of dreamy atmosphere. I don't know. It was fun to watch. I really like the camera work. The lens flares are just weird. Let me know what you think, though. If you like this movie, if you don't, if you've seen it, if you'd be interested in this film. And thank you all for listening to this. And I want to thank that one subscriber still who's sticking around. Thank you. And see you later.